Have you ever stopped to notice the rhythm of the world around you? It's everywhere, from a simple swing in a park to the beautiful sound coming from a guitar. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden pattern. We're talking about oscillations, so let's dive right in. So here's a fun one to start us off. A vibrating guitar string and the swinging pendulum of an old clock. I mean, they seem totally different, right? Well, by the end of this, you'll see how they're basically two sides of the same, really cool physics coin.
Here's our game plan. We're going to start with some everyday examples you already know. Then we'll build up the language we need to talk about them properly. After that, we'll get into the purest form of this motion. And finally, we'll see why it matters so much. Okay, first up, let's just get our bearings in the real world. Because honestly, you see this kind of motion all day, every day, probably without even thinking about it. Think about it. A kid on a swing set, the pendulum on a clock, or this classic physics example, a block bouncing on a spring. They all share this one fundamental thing. They move back and forth, again and again, around some central stable point. That repetitive, back and forth dance is exactly what we call oscillatory motion. Now, to really get a grip on this, we need to speak the language. Physics gives us a few key terms that let us describe this repeating motion with a ton of precision. First, we've got the big, broad category, periodic motion. And this is just what it sounds like. It's any motion that repeats itself over and over again on a regular schedule. The Earth going around the sun, that's periodic. The second hand on a watch, periodic. It just keeps on going. But, and this is the important part, oscillatory motion is more specific. It's not just repeating, it has to be repeating back and forth around a middle point, what physicists call the equilibrium position. So it's a very special and very common type of periodic motion. So here's the bottom line, and this is the key takeaway. All oscillatory motion is periodic, but not all periodic motion is oscillatory. A swinging pendulum? Yep, that's both. But the Earth's orbit? Well, it repeats, so it's periodic, but it's not moving back and forth around a central spot, so it's not oscillatory. See the difference? So how do we measure these things? We use two main ideas. First is the period, which we label with a T. That's just the time it takes to complete one full cycle. For a swing to go all the way forward and all the way back once. Then there's frequency, labeled with nu, which is the flip side. It's how many of those full cycles happen every second. And as you can see, they're just inverses of each other. Super simple. All right, now we get to the heart of it all. We're going to zoom in on the most perfect, the most fundamental type of oscillation there is. It's called Simple Harmonic Motion, or just SHM for short. Whoa, okay, don't let the equation scare you. I know it looks a little intense, but this is actually an incredibly elegant way to describe any simple harmonic motion. It basically tells us the position, x, of our wiggling object at any moment in time, t. And we're about to break down what every single one of those other symbols, a, omega, and phi, actually means. It's easier than you think. Let's start with a. That's the amplitude, and it's super straightforward. It's just how far the object moves away from its resting point in the middle. For a pendulum, it's how high it swings. For a spring, it's how far you stretch it. Simple as that. It's the size of the wiggle. Next up, we've got omega, or omega. This is the angular frequency. You can just think of this as how fast the oscillations are happening. It's directly connected to the period, t, that we just talked about. The bigger your omega, the faster the object is zipping back and forth, which means a shorter time for each cycle. And finally, there's phi, or phi. This is the phase constant. All this little guy does is tell us where the object was when we started the clock. Did we let it go from the very end of its swing, or did we start watching when it was right in the middle? That starting condition, that's what the phase constant is all about. Okay, so that equation is incredibly powerful, for sure. But there's an even more intuitive and honestly more beautiful way to picture simple harmonic motion. It's like a little visual magic trick. I want you to picture this. You've got a ball on a string, and it's spinning around in a perfect circle at a perfectly constant speed. Got it? Now imagine you crouch down so your eyes are level with the circle. You're watching it from the side, edge on. What do you see? So as that particle, let's call it P, cruises around the circle, its shadow on that center line, which we'll call P prime, well, it doesn't move in a circle at all, does it? It just slides back and forth. It moves fastest in the middle, and it slows down at the ends right before it turns around. Does that sound familiar? And here it is. This is the punchline. The motion of that shadow is not just like a pendulum or a spring, it is mathematically perfect simple harmonic motion. The wiggle of a spring is literally the shadow of something spinning in a circle. How cool is that? So we know what SHM looks like, and we've got that amazing visual of the shadow. But what's the actual physics behind it? What causes it to happen? Let's talk about the force and the energy that make this whole thing go. The secret ingredient for simple harmonic motion is a special kind of force we call a restoring force. Basically, as the object moves away from its happy place in the middle, this force always tries to pull it back. And the further you pull it, the stronger that force gets. That little negative sign in the equation is key. It means the force is always pointing in the opposite direction of the displacement, always trying to get things back to center. And this is just a beautiful illustration of what's happening with the energy. At the very ends of the motion, the object stops for a split second. All of its energy is stored up as potential energy. Then, as it swings back toward the middle, that stored energy gets converted into energy of motion, kinetic energy, which hits its maximum right as it zips through the center. The total amount of energy never changes. It just keeps trading back and forth between these two forms. We've gone from swings to shadows to physics formulas. But why should you care about this simple motion? Because once you learn how to spot it, you start to see it absolutely everywhere. Simple harmonic motion isn't just a neat little physics problem. It's the fundamental building block for understanding so many things. It's the vibration of a violin string that creates music. It's how sound waves actually travel through the air to your ear. It's the alternating current in the walls of your house. It's even how atoms jiggle around in solid objects. This one simple pattern is a key to understanding a huge chunk of physics. And that's what we'll leave you with. Think about it. The incredible, complex world of waves and light and music can all be understood at their very core by studying the simple shadow of a spinning ball. It really makes you wonder, what other profound secrets are hiding in the simple patterns we see every single day?